Our beloved 8% Hard AF Seltzer is now live in over 2,500 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin, bros, kids. Super amped about today's show.
No, I am. I'm amped.
You are.
Yeah, I'm a fucking skateboarder.
But I'm more amped than you are.
No, you're
okay?
not.
Yeah,
No,
I am. I am.
not at all.
I am. Because Jason Ellis is here today. And what, you just grabbed a knife off the table like it's your own?
I mean, you got knives on the table. I'm not allowed to touch them?
Absolutely are allowed to touch them in this building.
Actually, you can probably take that. I think that's a Montana
I
knife.
feel like taking this on the plane would be a bad idea.
It would. Are you flying out tonight?
Yeah.
All right.
Otherwise, I will take both these knives off your hands.
Yeah, you could. You could.
I got a lot of knives myself.
We got a sweet sponsorship with.
You got a knife sponsor?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Man, what are you not sponsored by?
Montana knife. Well, not OJ anymore. He's dead. Speaking of knives, but OJ Simpson's no longer
creams.
with us.
We don't have any creams.
Yeah.
Maybe some sunscreen or something.
Now, Jared will come out for the skateboarders and everything else. However, I didn't know you did any of that. I was a huge fan of your Sirius XM show.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I knew you from, and I would just listen. I didn't know what you looked like. Nothing, because I used to write for a living, and I would put everything on in the background, and then it existed. I wouldn't know what people looked like or anything else, and I had no idea you looked like what you look like until I eventually looked you up. Or the opposite, you know? Or the opposite.
Depends on who you're looking at.
Yeah.
With what eyes you've got, I guess.
I mean, I've ran into you over the years, too, like Kit's wedding.
Yeah.
Kit Cope?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Back in like 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a riot.
Yeah, I remember, I don't want to say names, but his best man forgot the name of Kit's wife. And I was like, dude. I mean, in his defense, he'd been hit in the head a lot. So that I kind of let it slide. But I was like, this is the worst speech you could ever do. So I just wanted to say, you know, your chick's pretty cool. You know? And I was like, oh my God, dude.
No, he was the officiator.
No, he wasn't. No, he was the best man.
Oh, was it the speech? I thought it was the
Wait, the officiator didn't know her name as well?
Yeah.
The officiator. Who you're talking about?
He was?
Yes.
He was in the UFC,
He was,
right?
he was the one that was...
The fighter. Real fighter. Yeah. Oh, okay. I just remember somebody with a microphone didn't know her name.
Worst of all time.
Yeah.
I had heard about it through the grapevine. Kit's a friend of ours. But with you, once I started looking you up and everything that you did, like, I was shocked. And I don't know if it's because I caught different interviews. And obviously, you're always trying to connect with a guest, you know, when you're doing this daily and all that other stuff. But with you, I started going through all your shit. And I was like, well, God damn. What does this guy look like? And then boom, it's you. You did skateboarding, you did MMA. I mean, you've done all of it across anything you could possibly do in this life. I feel like you've done.
I'm not a very good ballerina.
Yet.
Right. Well, no, I think that'll probably, let's call it a
Have you tried?
Let that one sail, dude.
There's certain things that I'm just not interested in, and I believe that is one of them.
Yeah. In this life.
You never know, but I feel pretty good about not ever doing that.
Yeah. But
I
then
started line dancing the other day. I never thought I would try that.
Oh, here in Texas?
Nah, I got a girlfriend, and she's got a horse. She's like more of a cowgirl, I guess. And now I'm into like riding horses and jumping in rivers and shit. Because I grew up like in the bush in Australia, and then when I came here to be a pro skateboarder, I was more of a city boy. You know what I mean? I like Nikes and gold chains and shit. And then now I've sort of found my roots again. I'm like, oh yeah, swimming in the river and jumping off shit, chasing lizards. I remember that. I like that. Yeah. And then I got more into that, and I got a cowboy hat and some Wranglers and cowboy boots, and I'm gonna get a horse. And I'm going to learn how to... I already did horse wheelies, but I'm not a good horse rider. I just had a stunt horse that did wheelies. So people are like, you ride horses, huh? And I'm like, no. But I know how to hold on to one when it rears up. So apparently that's good, but not really.
That makes you look really cool.
It makes
and
you
I
look
can
cool.
do wheelies on a dirt bike, so it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. But what a wild life you've had. And again, I think it's a compliment because, in my opinion, you're one of the best interviewers there is. And
wow.
so I listen to all your shows, and then again, going back to everything else. And when Jared shows up, I know it's going to be skateboarder or somebody like a famous singer or something like that. Kesha's going to be here.
That sounds like more fun.
I still want Kesha, dude. We got to get Kesha.
Good luck.
Yeah, and you're doing a show with Tony Hawk.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Which is awesome. And knew Tony way back in the day. I haven't seen him in years and years. How's that going?
I love that. That's like every day that I do that, I say to myself, you're the co-host of a podcast with Tony Hawk. You know, and then I have a key to his ramp, and we skate before the show or after the show. So oftentimes I skate Tony Hawk's ramp with Tony Hawk, and you know, I grew up like everybody else. Well, everybody in my world where Tony Hawk is a god, you know, like the animal chin ramp and all that stuff. And just the other day, I skated the chin replica ramp with Tony Hawk and did double hand plants on the spine like you do when you're in the Bones Brigade. And I'm not Steve Caballero, I'm some dickhead. And now I'm doing double hand plants with the great Tony Hawk. And the person taking the photo is the person that took the photo of the first one. And he's like, this is where I sat for the other photo. And I'm like, I've said to him that day, I was like, do I have brain cancer and you guys aren't telling me? Is this a Make-A-Wish thing? Because thank you, you know?
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but it's the coolest shit ever that I
Dude,
get
that
to
photo,
be
you better have a whole wall.
Yeah, that's it, because I don't really want to have, I've never been a fan of people that have photos of themselves in their house. I used to make fun of that. So I don't have that. But for this, I will have it.
Yeah. There's certain things in life that do require the photo. I've got one. I've got my own personal one that's in my office at home where I'm like, great. But it's not a lot. There's not a lot on that desk.
Yeah, for this one, it's different. It's like forever. It will be one of the greatest moments. Like when we first made it, and we did it a couple of times. The very first one that we did, because we've done doubles with each other so many times, when he gives me the nod, it's like the difference was instead of him being across the ramp, he was across the ramp. So he was just like further away, but it's still like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, 1, and I know the timing of him. Like I don't even have to look at him. And when we went in, he said, and every other he did it back in the day in the 90s. Then he did it again with the remake of it with original Bones Brigade. And not one time did they ever do what we did. The first one we did, my thumb went over his thumb. So we touched thumbs in the hand plant. And when you're in a hand plant, and I'm fucking 52, man, like being in a hand plant on a new ramp, you don't want to make a mistake when you're my age. You want to make it. So as soon as I stood on my hand, I was like, who's touching me? And it's a split-second thing where I was like, I can't pull my hand out. And I'm like, am I on him or is he on me? And who's going in first? Because if somebody goes in first and their hand's under the other person's hand, I'm going to kill somebody. Yeah. And then before you know it, I'm rolling away and then we both pop out and I'm like, who? He's like, my thumb, your thumb was on my thumb. I'm like, my thumb was on your thumb. We're alive. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, that was scared the shit out of me, but it was.
Bro, it's a 12-foot vert spine.
Yeah, that's
huge.
It's nuts. Because I watched
that ramp is a pile, by the way.
Is it?
Nobody rides it. It's got small ramps have changed now. They're like 12-foot transitions, and that's a 10-foot transition with 1.5 feet of vert. So it's very whippy to me, and it's kinky. It's an outdoor ramp that nobody rides because that skate park, that place has an indoor vert ramp that's a good one. So if anyone rides vert, they ride the indoor one. That one is more of that's the animal chin replica. And kids go, cool. And they don't ride it.
Yeah.
So it's like dusty. If you fall, the screws come up and pull your knee pads off. It was like, dude, my pants got ripped open like second try. And I was like, okay, so I can't fall. None of us, we had to make it. So it was like and Grant Britton's taking the photo. Tony Hawk's doing the hand plant. You know he's going to make it. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
So there was like, it was a lot of pressure for me. I was like, you got to make it. And you got to make it every time because I don't want to inconvenience anybody. They're already inconvenienced. They drove 2.5 hours to do a hand plant with this dickhead. Like it was like how I looked at it was like, I'm not worthy. So I have to do the best job. So everything we did first try. The fronts it is, we both made it first try, but it was because my mindset was like, I'll die before I bail any of these tricks. Like I'm making it.
Well, I watched the doc on HBO. I don't know if you saw it with Tony, and he essentially fucking killed himself trying to do it. And I was like, oh my, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at this age, and you're so rich, why are you still trying to do this shit? Like, I love you.
I love that you're saying money has something to do with it.
It sure does. Because to me, at a certain point, you would not want to risk certain things, especially your health.
He doesn't
and
skate
your
for money, dude.
But your health and he's got kids.
Yeah, but it's not.
I know his fucking kid, like.
Why does Howard Stern still talk into a microphone?
Because he doesn't have kids. And
He does have kids.
No,
I think
he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
I don't think he does.
Yes, he does.
With a divorced wife?
Yeah.
Maybe. But now he's got a
not
house.
maybe.
Now he's got a house full of
He
kids.
has 3 children.
Does he really?
Jesus, how did you not know that?
Wait, but is it the first wife, the one who
Yes,
divorced?
his first wife. They're
Okay.
like fully grown daughters.
Well,
but
now
they're
he's got
still
he's got
children.
100 fucking cats in his goddamn house,
Well, I think
and he
that's
doesn't
his
leave the
wives.
basement.
His new wives. Yeah, look,
He doesn't leave the fucking basement anymore.
I don't know what he does anymore. I'm just saying that I think it's like who's another person? Larry King. Did he not do it until he died?
But if physically, he
Fucking
didn't have to throw his body
Look,
into
I-
900.
Tony's 55. I'm 52. We're the first ever people to be of 50 and over that can do 7-foot airs above a 13-foot high vert ramp.
And Bucky's over 50 now, too.
Right, but I'm just saying we are the first of its kind.
You got 3 people.
Bucky,
Yeah.
No, there's more. There's a couple of us. There's Andy McDonald's. There's a couple of people that are 50 and over that can ride a vert ramp, that can do head-high aerials. If you lock up on a head-high aerial and you get knocked out in your 50s, you could die. Not to mention your body probably won't move right ever again.
Yes.
So the way we skate now is, like, when we make tricks, when we do hard stuff that we're not supposed to do anymore, it's a feeling that is like I've teared up several times in my skateboard career in the last 2 years because this is the last time I'll do any of this. Like, I did a backside 540 this year at the start of the year, and I cried like a bitch after I made it because I didn't think I would make one, let alone even spin one, and I made it. Bucky cried. Bucky was there crying with me because he knew.
He knows how hard
He
it
was
is.
like, "You did it." I'm like, "I did." He's like, "You could have died." I'm like, "I could have." This is probably the last time you'll ever see Jason Ellis do a 540. Remember all the 540s we've done together as friends over the last 30 years? Kind of, yeah. It's like a really emotional big deal. Like Tony skating when he does like he broke. I was there when his leg snapped out of the side, and it was like, it's over, man. You're never gonna skate again. And then he got it reattached. It detached, and it was floating around. He was still skating. I'm watching this dude fall off, not be able to get up, then drag himself around over the street course, sit there with his skateboard, looking at his skateboard. I'm on the top of the ramp. I'm looking over, and I'm not saying anything because it's like really uncomfortable. But I'm watching him, and I can tell he's looking at it saying, it's been fun. And I can see the love and the heartbreak in this guy's face. And I'm like, this is it. I'm a witness to the saddest shit ever. Like, I'm choking up, and then he comes up the deck, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, he can't walk. He just gave up. I saw his face. He just gave up. And then he was like, no, fuck that. And then he came back up the stairs, and then he gets an x-ray and finds out that his bone is floating. His femur's floating off the other part of the bone. He did a backside boneless on a fucking leg that didn't have a bone attached. Then he gets it reattached. Now he skates again and starts doing 540s again. And you don't, like, you don't know, like, the drive that man had. Because he's like, hey, man, Tony Hawk, like, he's pretty mellow. Yeah. He's a fucking warlord. That guy is a monster. He is fearless. And I love him, and I love skateboarding so, because it saved my life, dude. And now to be in my 50s, to skate with like Kevin Staub, who's like 56, Cab's like fucking 70 or something. Like, but he's fucking skating,
Still
dude.
rolling,
Like,
dude.
These
Every weekend, too.
yeah, we're like, you know, McGill. I'm on the ramp with Mike McGill. Like, I remember when I was like, oh man, those guys.
That was my first board.
Like, you
in
know,
1991.
Lance Mountain texts me like, do you want to come to my 60th birthday? And I'm like, is this real? Like, well, I'm just waiting to not wake up, but we keep waking up and we keep going to the ramp. It's legendary, and I'm a part of it, and I know like the history. So to me, I've never been prouder. Like, when I do anything on a skateboard now, I'm so proud of me and everybody that's there, and it's just not the same. It used to be like, I just want to rip, and if you rip, you're like, yeah, you know what I mean, I made it, and it's like, fuck yeah, I did. Of course I did. Now it's like, dude. oh my God. and everybody there is like, yeah, man, like, wow.
Bucky competed last X
Bucky
Games at
can
50 years old.
Bucky can still beat a 20-year-old. Like, he's the only person that makes me not feel that cool.
And talk about the sweetest human on the fucking planet.
The what?
The nicest human being. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So is Tony.
They
The
all are, man.
sweetest,
Yeah.
like,
There's no dicks on the when you've been around this long, you're not there if you're a douche.
But again, I'll go back to what I said at the top here. Because you could die up there.
Yeah.
That's why I bring in the money and the family and everything else into it. Like, why take the risk at a certain age? I mean, I know you love it. I know you love it. But one
Passion,
shot
bro.
and you're gone.
Is
Is that how you would want to die?
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have it? Do you have that dream?
No. It's not a fantasy to die skateboarding.
There's a lot of people that want to die doing what they love, though.
Yeah, I don't want to die. That's my first choice. But I also don't want to quit skateboarding. I don't want to quit living my life to the fullest. And if I can't live my life to the fullest, then die.
Okay.
this is what I want to show you.
Yeah.
That's my deal. Like, I don't want to, like, what, I'm just going to sit there and read a fucking book? Like, I'm going to find something to kill myself on.
But
I'll race cars and die, because that's my next thing. Like, if I really can't skate and I break it enough and the stem, like, bioaccelerator won't let me go to Columbia, because I keep getting injected with stem cells. So my body just keeps rejuvenating. And now I'm like, I eat like a plant, animal-based diet. Like, I cold plunge, I stretch. I do everything that you can to keep it going, and it keeps going. So until it falls off, I'm going to keep going. And if my legs stop, then I'll race cars. Like, I'll ride horses. I always want to be, I love almost not making it. People think I love not making it. Nah.
No,
They're like, oh man, you're like, what is it? A sadist? Like, you like a masochist?
Masochist.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't go, oh yeah, I broke my arm. I like it when I clip my wheels on the coping and I make it and I go, oh, you almost died, dude. That shit is awesome.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, though.
You can't stop it. You can't turn it off.
You're so close to death on everything you do.
We'll be all right.
MMA. If you did fucking MMA, dude.
I still spar every Tuesday night, and I beat 25-year-olds up, and I love it.
This is 6 weeks after hip surgery.
Who's that?
Pastrana.
Yeah, well,
Travis Pastrana. See, it's the same.
He's supposed to be recovering with a fucked up hip.
I
and he
think
jumped
he'll
a
die doing it, though, Jared. I've said this before in the show. I think he'll die doing it because he loves it so much.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
There isn't. There's nothing wrong
I
with
mean,
it.
it's sad that you die, but everybody dies.
Right. But as long
What
as you're
did Mel
doing something
Gibson
you
say
love, it's
besides "Hey, sugar tits."
the Jews did everything.
Yeah. He also said something cool in a movie, like every man dies, but not every man really lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a Braveheart quote, but it also always resonated with me because I was like, ooh, yeah, I dig that, because that's how I want to live, man. I go for it, and I'm never gonna stop going for it.
I like it. I take a more cautious approach.
Which is also respectable. I understand both sides of this. Like, I am a 52-year-old man. You don't think I have common sense floating in every now and then?
Jason,
It's just
I don't
when it
fucking
floats
know.
in there, I go, shut up, pussy.
Shut up. Well, now, one thing you might not know from my generation, you know, I was born in '85, so I'm about 12 years younger than you. So you were at the top when I picked up a skateboard. Him and Mike Vallely were known as the fucking toughest dudes. Like, you don't want to fight with these guys.
Yeah.
Like, those were the two that you get your fucking ass kicked.
Well, that much I know about him. You know,
I never
know it's
fought
just
back
like
then, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was more, I'm Australian and I drink a lot, and I would do cocaine the shape of Australia, and if it was like jump off this, I'll jump off that, and people were like, you're crazy, but I wasn't crazy. I just grew up like my father and all his friends were actually mad men. Like, when I look back now, they were proper mad men. Like, I don't know anybody. I've never seen a video. There's no jackass that matches what I saw as a child. Like, they would like make bonfires and stand in it and be melted. and somebody would kick him out and be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, just want to see how long I can stay in there." Or, or like, hold soldering irons with their bare hands, or shoot each other in the ass. Like, see if you can shoot the wallet out of the back of me pants. Fuck, he got me in the ass. And it's like, he'll be all right. Or break your shoulder and the bone's hanging out. And it's like, yeah, but I've just got here. So the kids probably want to ride the bikes for the weekend. So I'll just like drink whiskey for the next 2 days with the bone hanging out. And then when I get back to the house and take the bikes off the trailer, I'll go to the hospital. Like, that's what I grew up in. So I didn't know any better. But when it came to actual fighting, because you brought up Kid Cope. Yeah. Kid Cope is the person that got me into mixed martial arts. Yeah. Until that day, I did not know how to fight. It was more, I am a maniac. Like, I drink, and I was never an angry person. It was more like I'd be drunk and I'd knock a table over, and somebody'd be like, "What the fuck?" And I'd be like, "Calm down, I didn't mean it." And then they would beat me up, and I'd be like, "Is that the best you got?" And everyone would be like, "Holy shit,
he's crazy.
Ellis is crazy." But I wasn't like a mean person, or I never like beat up a bunch of people. Did I get beat up by a bunch of people? Yeah. And be like, "Nice one," like that was more my style. It was only when I actually trained, and that was, I was already older when I started getting into my first pro fight. I was 38. I remember the athletic commission, when you get your license, they go down the line. There was probably like 15 of us, and you got to say where you're from and how old you are. And I go, dickhead, 38. And the whole table goes, "Why?" And I was like, I don't know, it just felt like a good time to do it, like I didn't know about MMA until just now, so fuck you guys, I'm in. And my last fight, I think I was like 47 or something. Jesus. And I raced cars the same day. So I raced off course Lucas Oil Series. I won. I won.
And then how did the fight go?
I fucking won. I almost lost, though.
That was a big day.
Yeah.
2 wins.
Yeah, it was a busy day.
Tired at the end of that or no?
Yeah, that was a big mistake, racing cars the same day, for sure.
Sounds like it.
Because I couldn't switch. I raced cars. I won. It was a big deal to win because I was pretty bad when I first got into it. And when I won, I was freaking out. You know what I mean? I raged out like in the car. I was like, I did it. I mean, a trophy. I'm like, I did it. And then I get a car to the fight, and my coach is like, my coach is like, change, pad up. And then I remember getting in the cage, and he goes, "Hey." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "It's a fucking fight, dude." And I'm like, "I'm aware. I'm in the cage with my gloves on." He's like, "I can see it in your eyes. You don't know. It's a fight. Get into fight mode." And I was like, "I thought I was." And I remember saying to the guy, like, "Good luck, dude." And he was mad. You know what I mean? And I was just like, "You made me the best man win, Let's go, buddy." And he was like, "I hate you." You know what I mean? And then he like knocked me to like, he hit me a couple times where my leg didn't work, and I smiled at him. Not because I'm tough. It was more of like I think my brain didn't work, but my foot collapsed and he saw it, and I was like, "Hey." And then he came over and beat me up, and he hit me so hard that I couldn't see anymore, and I just heard a humming sound, and I was reaching for stuff, and I was like, I got an arm, and then I pulled him in, and then I came to, and he was on top of me, punching me in the face, and I was like, well, this is bad. And then I somehow got up and survived that round, and that's when I woke up and was like, okay, we're in a fight. And then in the last round, I broke his shoulder. And I kept working on it, and I finally got it, and I felt it starting to snap, felt like a tree branch snapping. And I go, "Tap, dude, tap," because once again, I just wanted the best man to win. Yeah, I'm not that guy, dude. I know I look like I am, but I'm not. And I felt it. I was like, "Tap, dude, tap," and he wouldn't tap. And then he just starts screaming because his fucking arm is breaking. And then the ref pulled him off, and I won with 2 seconds left in the end of the round.
Holy shit!
So that was like, I don't want a career. I just wanted to fight and see how tough I was. And I was like, well, you were blind and you just heard a humming sound, and then you came back and you ripped that guy's arm off. You're good. Like, you don't need to.
There's
you
no
don't
more
need to
proof.
follow
Nothing
this.
to prove anymore. Yeah.
People were like, "Man, when are you gonna have another fight?" I was like,
I'm good.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all good. You found out, and now you can.
I would
move
only
on.
fight if it was like a dumbass because of my ego. Probably not now because my ego is pretty nullified. But you know, like I'll beat a Jake Paul or something like that. But nobody cares.
In MMA or boxing?
I don't give a shit. I'll fucking switch that dude off anywhere.
Yeah.
He's pretty fucking good, though.
So am I.
Have you trained in boxing?
That's my thing. I'm a better boxer than I am an MMA fighter for sure.
And what's your record?
I mean, I only had one amateur boxing fight and 2 pro MMA fights, but then I boxed at Ellis Mania against Keith Jardine, Forrest Griffin.
Jesus.
I fought Shane Cowan. I fought Uriah Faber, Kit Cope. I mean, most of these I lost, but I didn't get beat. I
You
just
fuck Keith.
I fought.
That's
I
terrifying.
fought 10 people in 10 minutes. And,
Oh, that was down
and
in
half
Florida,
of them
wasn't
were
it?
UFC
Yeah.
fighters.
Was that down in Florida?
No, it was in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Until the Nevada, what is it?
Commission.
The commission?
Yeah, I'm banned.
Yeah, you can't go back anymore? There it is.
Ellis Mania is banned. See Ellis Mania in Florida next year,
Yeah, exactly.
where they'll let you do it. Yeah.
But with Jake, because we cover him. We have a gambling sponsor, mybookie.com, and promo code Drinkin Bros doubles that first deposit up to $1,000. I won a lot of money off of him.
Yeah.
Because all of these guys that are MMA guys that are coming in there are just getting knocked out.
It's because they got bad habits. I knocked out a UFC fighter before Jake Paul existed in a boxing fight because MMA guys are like, I've been training for 15 years. I'll beat your ass. And I'm like, I've been boxing for 3 years. That was the first boxing fight I had against Gabe Rudiger. And I knocked him out. One punch, knocked him out. Because he has bad habits from all his MMA abilities. Like if we had an MMA fight, he would destroy me. But in a boxing fight, if you train boxing, you stand a different way. There's like ways, there's things that MMA guys, when they're in trouble, this pushing out Muay Thai thing, this hands, those are perfect for me. Like, and you leave your body open because you stand more sideways. You stand more front on to me, like your hips are open because you're getting ready to defend takedowns. If you stand like a boxer, someone's going to kick your front leg out. But MMA guys, they stand sideways. They have their feet together. They don't like boxers can have their feet further apart. They can stand more bladed. Like there's no Philly shuffle in MMA. It won't work. It's too risky. Bobbing your head side to side in MMA, you can't do that. You'll get kneed in the face.
Yeah.
But if you don't have all that in a real boxing fight against a real boxer, we will pick you apart. And it's easy. I thought when I fought Gabe, I thought it was fake. I thought he was letting it happen so that I'd step in and he'd knock me out. Because I was like, there's no way you're this bad. And it turned out he is. But it's not bad. He's bad at boxing. And it's the same as you fight. If Anderson Silva, I don't believe that. I think that was a little bit of a setup. Anderson's better than that. I think Nate is like, Nate's high. You give him $5 million. He'll let you beat him up. I don't believe that, what's his name?
Ben Askren?
I mean, Ben Askren can't fight at all. He's an amazing wrestler who has the worst hands out of anybody that's ever been in combat sports ever. Like I've never seen anyone who's a worse boxer in my life. It's insane that you're that good at wrestling and that bad at boxing. But it does happen. There's jiu-jitsu guys that can't box too.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird where it's almost like your jiu-jitsu made you worse with boxing than you would have been if you had no training at all. Like you could have been a golf player and had better hands. Like,
But it's so different because I've got kids in jiu-jitsu and I'll watch them and just watching, because you're right. And this is what I've always said on the show when we're betting these fights of like, hey, these are MMA guys and these aren't boxers, and Jake is going to win. I'm sorry, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
It's a different game. Like
it is.
Like there's elbows, there's spin moves, there's takedowns. Like if you're a boxer, none of that applies, and you think, well, all I have to worry about is two hands. I'm like, no, dude, it goes the same way. Like if you're a boxer and you get into an MMA fight and you're like, dude, my hands are way better than an MMA fighter's hands. Yeah, but have you ever dealt with somebody who can kick your calf and up elbow you or pick your heel just to fake it to land a shot in your face? Like there's all these things that you've never trained for, and you have bad habits. That's the biggest one I found is Muay Thai guys are the easiest guys to beat in a boxing fight because they have, when things get where they're accustomed, they go back to the things that they know. And all those things that they know are awesome for me to land shots on you. They're all the worst habits ever. Like you're the stepping out, you can't. There's all these little habits in boxing that if you do them in an MMA fight, you're gonna get knocked out.
Yep.
But it's the complete opposite. Like it's totally. And the difference is if you're a UFC MMA fighter, you're very confident. You're in the UFC. You're in the best of this particular kind of fighting style. So you think I'm not going to beat some amateur boxing guy? Well, guess what? You're probably not going to win. And also, Jake is 20 pounds heavier than these guys. And people think, oh, man, I was only like 17 pounds more. Dude, 17 pounds more is a shit ton. Like, we're think about boxers that argue about, like, I'll fight you at 143. And the guy's like, nah, 144. And he's like, no way. Yeah. We're talking about 1 pound, like the highest level they don't want to like, because they know.
Yeah.
Like, they're little, 1 more pound is 1 more pound of pressure that you go to sleep on. So it's still amazing because he's like me, as in you came late, you don't have the background that these guys, you don't have the pedigree that these guys have, and you're picking some of the greatest UFC fighters apart and you're beating them. I think it's pretty awesome. But watching him shadow box, watching him move around, he's pretty good, but he's nowhere near pro level. I mean, here's the bottom line. You got beat by Tyson Fury's brother, who is not a good boxer.
Yep.
He's just a boxer. There are 150 guys in his weight class that would beat the living shit out of that guy. And he lost to that guy. So don't tell me you're a good boxer. You're just a really good celebrity boxer.
Sure. And I understand that too. So what happens then when he goes against Mike Tyson?
Is this actually happening?
This is happening.
I mean, I thought
believe it's
didn't get canceled.
No, it's rescheduled for November. Bob, look up the new date.
I thought, but it did get canceled. At
it
first,
did,
right?
yeah. So he had an ulcer. Mike Tyson had an ulcer and went down on a plane. And luckily, it was about 15 minutes before landing. There was a doctor on the plane.
He went down?
Yeah, he was laying on the ground. And so a doctor came up and helped him. And they went to the hospital, discovered he had some ulcer or whatever. He had to take, I believe, 2 months off of training. So they pushed it to November. Bob, what's the new date?
But also, dude, I saw the video on Twitter of him training before he went down. And that was terrible.
November 15th.
Okay, so November 15th is the date. Now, do I think they can back off of that? No. There is so much money involved with Netflix. And I think not only does Jake want it, but Mike wants it as well. Like, he just got out of bankruptcy a couple years ago. After all the years.
He's doing good again.
He is. He's doing great.
The weed ears and...
He's got all that stuff. Yeah, he's got hotels and everything else.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, shit.
Like
and then we're giving out a signed Mike Tyson glove on the show for the audience and all that stuff, and it's going to be rad. But they're going to pay him. The rumor is $30 to $40 million.
Right. So why not lose? What's the big deal?
You're Mike Tyson. I think the ego gets involved, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. Would you take a fall if somebody said, "Hey, I'll give you $30 million?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fuck are we talking about? I fought Shane Carwin with one hand, and I knew that I'm not trying to beat Shane Carwin. He's a legend, and he has one hand. So even if I had the opportunity, because I did have the opportunity, I caught his front arm, and his other arm was taped, and I had that arm trapped, and I went dink dink, like ha ha, and he went, and then he lifted me up with the other arm and put me over the ring, and then put me back in, and then punched me in the back of the head and made my whole face go numb. And then he tells me afterwards that his coach goes, you know why Jason invited you here, right? And Shane's like, yeah, man, to have fun. Like, we're putting on a show. And he's like, no, dude. He's trying to knock out a UFC fighter so he can put it on YouTube and claim that he knocked out a UFC heavyweight champion. And Shane's like, really? Well, that's not cool. And then he tells me a year later on a houseboat that he was like, I was dead set on knocking you out. And I was like, well, that's cool. Because it sounds legendary because you're one of the hardest punches in the UFC history. So that's legendary for me. But I've told people this. In the mirror, before I went out in the dressing room, I was like, you ready? Because you're getting knocked out by Shane Carwin for you 3,000 fans right now. So buckle up, Jace. Because I knew that it was like, you can't try to actually beat him. I just wanted to make the distance with him. But I also was like, if you don't get knocked down by him, people paid for you to fight Shane Carwin with one hand. They want to see you get knocked out.
Yeah.
So I kind of just stayed in the pocket and let it happen.
But also you knew you couldn't beat him, right?
With one hand, I could beat him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think so?
He had a hand
I do
tape,
think so, yeah.
is what happened. They taped like one
Yeah,
arm
dude
down.
has this. He had a tape like this,
Oh.
and every now and then when he threw a punch, he strained with this, and we put a roll of duct tape around him, and he ripped out of it. And we had to use another roll over and over again.
No way.
His strength was insane, dude. Like I bumped into him to try to like move him back, and it was like, you know when your friend like hits you with his car to move you in the parking lot, and you go, "What the fuck, man?" That's what it's like to try and push Shane Carwin. Like, he was just like, and he was bright red and super mad, and I didn't know why, because we hung out at the Pink Taco the night before, and he was like, "We're gonna have fun, man." I'm like, "Hell yeah, man! You got penis fingers," because he had like porn fingers. His fingers are like porn dicks. They're like abnormal. Like his hands are weird. They're weird.
Pull up a picture of his hands if
They
you got
had
them,
to make custom gloves for him in the UFC because they didn't have a glove that would fit him.
Is that a little penis hand you got there?
I just googled penis fingers.
No.
I
It's
remember
kind of like Prince Charles, I would imagine.
he
Bob.
showed everybody at the table, and I had a bunch of girls with me, and I saw all the girls' eyes go.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really fucking funny.
He made a joke. He was like, "I could make you look like you have a micro penis if I put my hand near your dick."
You got a shot of that thing? Jesus Christ.
But look, that's his fist next to Brock Lesnar's fist.
Is it
Oh
really?
my God.
Yeah.
Holy
He's the hardest
shit.
puncher in the MMA history, they say.
Man.
And I took two left.
That's
One time
a
he gave me
sledgehammer.
Zoom in if you can, Bob.
he gave me a concussion, and I was like, it's not enough. So I got up and we did a little bit more, and then he knocked me out.
So that really is Brock Lesnar's hand. That's no Photoshop or anything.
That's not Photoshop. That's him.
Holy shit, dude. That's wild.
Yeah, he's not even that tall. He's just wide. Like he's really his head is like a motocross helmet. Like he's the sweetest dude ever. Which is, you know what I mean? He's like, you know, hey Jay. It's like he treats you like a little brother. Like you'll like do the neck thing where I'm like, dude, stop. And he's like, how are you? And I'm like, dude, you're killing me. He just like big brothers me all the time. And he's the nicest person ever. After he knocked me out at the after party, I fell asleep on the couch. And he was worried for me because you can't fall asleep after you get knocked out.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, wake up. And I woke up, and then it's Shane Carwin above me again.
You're like,
and I was like, oh, I didn't. No, stop. And he's like, dude, it's after party. I'm like, oh my God, because I thought it was fighting again. And I was like, you can't knock me out anymore. I can't take it. Too many concussions.
Oh, these are
And is that what it's really like? I mean, that's
My
fucking
life,
nuts
dude.
to
I got
me.
knocked out 4 times this year.
Who the four knockouts this year?
Usually now it's Tony, and he goes, "Hey man, you know where you are?" And I go, "Fuck! I get knocked out again." He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm here at your ramp." "Yeah, what are you here to do?" "A podcast." "Yep, you're good." And I'm like, "Okay, well then I'm good to go home." And he goes, "You're not good to go home." I'm like, "Why not?" He's like, "Because I've been talking to you for the last 20 minutes, and you said you didn't know where you were." And I was like, fuck.
Yeah. That's when it gets you.
Yeah, but I seem to be pretty good. Like 52, been knocked out over 30 times, and I'm sober now. I've never been sharper. I remember everything. I've never been better at skateboarding. I've never lifted more weights. I've never been better at boxing. That's the other thing. Since I got sober, because I've always been high my whole life, and now I beat up everybody at the gym, and my cardio is better. I kind of am surprised. Like I always kind of, like when I lift more weights, I go, wait, and I look around. I'm like, did somebody change the sticker on the weight? Because that doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, waiting for somebody to be smirking at me like, haha, I put 400 on there. What a dumbass. And I'm like, wait, is this really 400? And then I'll call my coach and I'm like, dude, look at this video. And he's like, is that 400? I'm like, it is 400. How are you doing that? I don't know how I'm doing it. That's kind of my life right now.
And it's sober. How long you been sober?
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
I love it. It's the first time I've ever done the work, though. I've been sober a bunch of times, but I never did the work. I know this is the wrong podcast.
No, we don't. We actually don't give a fuck. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
But I've been sober a bunch of times, but I never did the steps and had a sponsor and read the book and do all the things that you're supposed to do. That I was just like, oh, that shit's gay, or I don't believe in God, but I actually I do everything you're supposed to do. And I've never been happier in my whole life, man.
Have you? Did you try ibogaine or
Who?
ibogaine or 5-MeO? Any of that?
What is that?
Ayahuasca, things like
Oh
that.
yeah. I've done all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That helped.
I was going to say, yeah, that's helped a lot of people.
Yeah, but it didn't cure me. You know, like it was like the ayahuasca journey. I did it for 3 days straight, and it helped a lot. And then the medicine helped me afterwards, where it would help me like make better decisions. But I didn't. It was like I dove in a little bit, and I got a taste, and it wasn't enough. There's like you can, you know, it's a quick fix. You know, like it helps. But there's all these other things that like are still. I got to get to the root of the problem, you know. And it's like my childhood was tough, and I have to face it, you know. And then I have to face like all the things that happened and accept them and accept all the things that people did to me and let it go, you know. Because I got hatred, aggression to the people that hurt me when I was a kid, and the aggression is like a part of my sorrow. Like they're all connected. Sadness is anger. Anger is sadness. It's the same thing. So when I got to the bottom of it and like really opened it up and faced it and sat with it sober, because that's the other thing, smoke a joint, drink a beer. I'm like, that's enough for today. Let me go back to being a little high. Like the easiest way to explain it is you going into the darkness, man, like being terrified in the dark. You can't see your fucking hand in front of your face. You don't know what's out there. But if you stay in there long enough, your eyes adjust and you start to see what's around you, and it's not so scary. But it's that first bit when you've been running your whole life. Like I use sports, running, drugs, sex, everything to run. When I finally like really sat in there with no drugs, no alcohol, no sex. I did not like. I've always fucked things.
Men and women.
Yeah. Fuck off, asshole. I've retired from that too. But anyway, that's the other thing. When I got to the bottom of that, I was like, whoa, I don't actually want to do that at all. Yeah. And I was like, at one point I was like, that's you, dude. Like you are half a gay and you will fuck anything that moves, and if it doesn't move, you'll push it. And now I'm like, this is going to sound weird, but I'm like, oh my God, dude. Did I really? And then people message me like that used to know me, like, what's up? And I'm like, what's up? What do you fucking mean, what's up? And they're like, we want to hang out. I'm like, hang out like what? No, I don't. I'm not interested. I'm a grown-ass man. I got shit to do. I'm not trying to get off my... And then, like, regret it 20 minutes later. And I'm like, who the fuck just said that? It's like this wise man is all of a sudden in this, and now I'm just not interested in any of that. And then when I really, like, stopped doing all that, then I met somebody who is sober, did the same thing, was the same path, who's a lady with a vagina. Turns out I really like that. And now we've never been happier. You know, I've never been happier with my whole life, with my day, without. I used to like. I needed something. I needed to win. I needed to get paid. I needed to like get a pat on the back because I won something or I did something cool where everybody thought it was magnificent and you're crazy, Jason. You did it again. And then that would last like an hour and then I'd need another one. Now I'm like, my kids are good. And that lasts all day. Like, hey, dude, you good, dude? Yeah. What happened today? Anything good? Yeah, man, this happened. I'm happy all day with that. I'm like, is this really you? Are you lying to yourself? No. Like, I love the sun, man. I love flowers and shit and puppy dogs. I like watching kittens on Instagram. I'm very happy with that.
Yes!
And on top of it,
I'm part of this
my
program
chick's hot
now,
and she
too.
blows me, so it's like, fuck.
Yeah!
And that's really all that matters at the end of the day is if your chick is hot and she blows you, and that's it.
I didn't say that's
You
what
sure did.
really matters.
Yep. Jason Ellis just said that live on air. No takesy backsies.
It's a
nothing
bonus,
we can do about it.
is what I'm saying.
It's a bonus.
Sure, it's a bonus. Did you end up going to therapy at all, too?
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Are you serious? I've done it all. Like, I need help, man.
Yeah, I know.
we all
Jason.
do.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
all
I
do.
know.
Therapy for years, ayahuasca, DMT. I
Yeah,
did
the
MDMA
DMT.
therapy with doctors. That's when I found out about my, like, how much worse my molestation years were. And I was like, okay, I think I've learned enough about my childhood. Let's move on with that. I was like, no wonder I look like me, dude. Like, because I built this. This is all a facade. I made myself look scary and tough so that I could defend the innocent little child that lives within. Mm-hmm. So that's from therapy. I figured that out from my therapist. It cost me like fucking 50 grand or something to get to there, but I'm happy that I got there. Thank you, dude. So yeah, once I got past all that stuff, then I did all the real work, which was facing it completely sober, which I'd never, I've been smoking weed since I was 12, dude.
Yeah.
So like to be completely sober was terrifying. And I went through a divorce. I got fired from Sirius, so I lost all my money and got a divorce. Had to pay her money that I don't even have. So now it's like nobody thinks you're cool anymore because you're not on the radio. You're in podcasting. Nobody really cares. I'm starting comedy, and you're starting from the bottom, so nobody cares. Your wife left you because you're a piece of shit. Your kids don't see you as much. It was like, it's over. Like, everything is over. And I got sober right when that all happened. So it was like every morning I would wake up and go, whoa.
Yeah.
I really suck. Like, maybe I should just kill myself. And I was like, don't do that. But the only thing that I could find to not do that was my kids. And that was probably like 2 or 3 months where I just sat there by myself, coming to terms with it. And I
there's a shade of the obsession of the challenge too. Didn't you feel that? Of like of once you because I went down to Mexico and did the Ibogaine DMT run, went sober for a year, and it's like you start obsessing. You see how low you got, but then you start obsessing with flipping that around. Like, can I win? Can I win again?
And obsessing it, what he's saying is obsessing over the sobriety to the fact that that's your new thing, where you're like, all right, great.
Well, winning
that's
again,
the challenge.
Well, that's the catch is not stop trying to win.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. Like I kept saying to everybody, that was what kept me going at the start was, I've just got to get back on top, and then everything will be okay. And then the more work I did on my sobriety and myself, the more I realized that this whole get back on top thing was part of the problem. It was like, if you get famous, if your podcast does big numbers, if somebody starts paying you real money again, if you start doing something cool on a skateboard or in the fighting world or in a car, you're not back on top. Back on top is happy in love and helping people, helping others. That's on top. But you don't know that because all you've ever thought about is yourself. That's my whole, is like, I've been worried about myself, worried if I'm going to be good or if I'm going to be cool or if I'm going to be loved. But it's still all revolving around me. It's the fucking me show. That's like half of the good. That's why I'm good at things, because I obsess about me. You know what I mean? It's a fucking egotistical bunch of shit, quite frankly. And when I stripped it down, I was like, you're nothing. You're nobody. Rebuild from nothing. And build and start with like real priorities. Like, are you a good person? Can your friends and family count on you? Can you do other things to help other people and not expect anything in return? Because I've never been about that. I can admit it now. I want shit in return. I want shiny shit. And I want everybody to go, you're the best.
Yeah.
That's what I really wanted. And now that I don't need that, I don't care about that, all of a sudden it's starting to happen, which is a funny, like, little, like, all of a sudden my career's starting to go. My comedy thing is like blowing up. Everyone's trying to hire me now. The podcast is starting to do numbers. My friends and family are like, hey, man, like, did you just wake up? Like, because I think I like you again. Like, my kids are around a lot more. Like I said, I've never been happier. But I went at it without that. I didn't want it. Like, I still don't want it. Like, tomorrow someone's like, hey, man, I want to pay you fucking 20 grand a month. I'll be like, what for?
Yeah.
Because if it's not for something that I think is going to help other people, I don't want it. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the fame. Like, I want to be good at comedy because I want to be good at comedy. I don't care about, like, if everyone comes to the show, that's awesome. I'm not saying no. And if you want to pay a ticket, great. That's awesome. I want to know that I'm good. Like, give me the mic and I can make this whole room laugh their fucking ass off. That's what I want from comedy, because I've been good at things before. When I was a great skateboarder, what was the best thing now that it's over? What was the best thing about being a good skateboarder? That I could do whatever I wanted with my skateboard. Like, is it cool that someone recognized me in a gas station? Yeah, it's cool. But what was the best thing about skateboarding to me? Easily, no hands down, ripping on my skateboard with my friends.
Yeah.
That was, and you can never take it away from me. And now that it's gone, because it's like a death, like being a pro skateboarder and then being older and retired. Jason, the pro skateboarder, died. Like, he's gone. I try to bring him back all the time. It doesn't work. There's little flashes, but let's be real. I'm not as good as I used to be, and I can't get that back. So now it's the same with life. Like, I just want to be a good person. If you need help, I'm there to help you. That's all I can do. It's all I care about. And that's why I don't want to jeopardize it by getting, because I know it's a like quick fix, you know, like, hey man, have you thought about like people like do OnlyFans again? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And they're like, but you need money? And I'm like, yeah, I need money. And they're like, you know, if you did that right now because of your popularity, you get a bunch of money right now. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I would have done something that I don't really want to do. And then I'd wake up feeling a little guilty about it. And then that addiction monster would come running back and be like, hey, man, you know, it will make you feel a little bit better, don't you?
A huge gator tail.
And I'm never going back, dude, ever.
It's interesting. What'd you do with all the shiny stuff? Did you clear out your life and say, hey, I'm going to start from
Well, first
this
of all,
and get
all
rid of
the
everything?
friends that used to like me for shiny stuff, they disappeared without me telling them to. Because
No shit.
when the money disappeared, they all disappeared.
And what was that like?
At first, because I wasn't sober, painful. It was very humbling. Like, wait, you don't like me anymore? You're not taking my call anymore? You used to come around every day.
Yeah.
What? Wait, did I hurt someone? No, you're just not cool anymore.
It's so wild. And how many people would you say that was in your life that were close to you?
12, 15?
Really? And then they were just gone.
Yeah, I've never spoken to him again.
No shit.
Yeah, I'd say probably at least 8 or 10 that just never never talked to me again.
And what did they do? Just kind of leech onto somebody else then?
I think so. I mean, I also separated. That was the other thing. Once I started to realize that, and the people, the relationships that I've had, and why I've had those relationships, I took it upon myself to cut myself out of it as well. Like there were certain things on social media. This is going to sound bad. No offense to everybody in the adult entertainment industry, but a lot of that was very bad for me. And I'm not saying it's bad for everybody else, just for me. So I cut myself out of all that. I cut out of it. And then with the sex thing, dating apps, I cut myself out of it. People that used to be like regular bone buddies, I'm out of it. Like no disrespect. I think they're great people, but I'm out. And it was like I pray, man. And here's a weird. Like I don't believe in like Jesus per se, but I do believe in a higher power. And I used to pray every morning, and no one would ever talk back. And I know, like it's like especially when you're new to this kind of thing, you're like, can you just tell me what to do? Like if I pray, can you just be like, Jason, you mean go to the ramp, it's gonna work out for you, or don't go to the ramp, it's not gonna work out. Just say it clearly. Like stop being so fucking mysterious. One day I'm going to the ramp and I got to do a trick with Tony, and it's a little bit more difficult. And I pray that morning and I go, look, God, I know I'm not supposed to ask for stuff, but if you could just keep me safe, that'd be much appreciated. I go to the ramp and I slip out on an alley-oop backside Smith grind and get knocked the fuck out. Ooh. And I wake up and Tony goes, hey man, where are you? And I'm like, oh no, not again. No! Yeah. And then he tells me and I'm better. And then I get in the car and I'm driving my car and a voice in my head goes, hey Jason, kill yourself. And I go, that was really clear. Like I heard that. No. First of all, no. But what is that? Like, and I'm like, I've been knocked out so many times that nothing surprises me anymore. Like there was a time I get knocked out. If it rains or I'm in the shower, I would cry. Like the water just hitting my face would make me cry. And I'm like, you hit your brain. Like this is a thing. Don't get too scared. This is the world of concussions. This voice, I'm like, 52, man. Like you got knocked out. Voice is like, kill yourself. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. Then the whole drive home, 2.5 hours, kill yourself. And I'm like, ooh, we're whispering it now, huh? How mysterious of you.
Is it your own voice?
Yeah. And I'm like, no. And it's like, no, seriously, kill yourself. And I'm like, fuck you, no. I go to bed that night and I remember going, gee, God, thanks for the keep of me safe deal. That was, I guess I asked a little too much this morning. And then I go to bed, I wake up in the morning, and then another voice says to me on the couch in the morning, because I'm a little bit scared of the concussion. And it's like, hey, man, things are going to work out today. Like, just relax. You hit your head hard yesterday, but things are going to work out. Just stay the course, dude. And I was like, okay, that was the opposite voice of the voice that I heard yesterday. And then since that day, both those voices still exist, but I distinctly know which one is which now. So when I hear like, just eat the chocolate cake, you'll be fine. And I go, I don't need the chocolate cake. I'm doing better. I'm like, I've never been fitter. I don't need that cake, motherfucker. Or the other one's like, hey, that DM, she is a bad lady. You do not need to return a DM back to her. You need to move on with your day. You're better than that. And I go, thank you, God. I will. So now I do talk to God and I do talk to the devil and I know who's who and they get respect. The devil gets no respect and God gets all the respect. And since then, every fucking message I get, I go with that one and things have just fucking worked out perfectly.
I love this.
But you're your own God and your own devil. It's just
Maybe,
you.
or maybe God is talking to me with my voice. You don't know that.
To me, because like again, you've done so much crazy shit in your life. Going back to you being sober, every profession you've done typically comes with booze and pills and fucking and good times. Like you've never just been middle management at Office Depot or something.
Well, when I was a kid, when you won, you won so that you could get drunk and do bitches.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole reason you won, was to celebrate by having sex and doing coke and drinking. And if you lost, well, then you needed to have a lot of sex and cocaine and drink.
Yeah.
To get back. Come on. I'm trying to get back here. I'm still in my get back phase.
So it was very confusing to me to do good and then not do anything that had any of that. Because the first time I did a stunt this is when I was married to my kid's mother. She was a nice person, tried to make me sober, but she was trying to make me sober and I didn't want to be sober. So we did this stunt junkies thing where it was Colin Morrison towed me on a dirt bike over a 60-foot gap. I'm on a skateboard behind him. And when we take off, I jump off my skateboard and pull myself onto the back of the dirt bike and we roll away over the jump. It took like 40 tries. I rolled my ankle, hurt my back and shit. But I made it. Tony Hawk was there, fucking video. Hey! I go back to the house and my wife at the time bought me an apple pie. So I got to have a whole apple pie to myself. And I was so bummed. I was like, you're saying this? I just killed myself for 4 hours and I get a fucking apple pie from Vons? Are you fucking serious? Like, is there any cocaine in this fucking pie?
Where's the fucking booze, coke?
Is there any
I don't
ecstasy?
see
One pussy in this pie.
Yeah. Is it laced?
Yeah.
Give me something I can fuck.
Yeah. Seriously, you want me to fuck the pie? Oh my God. I was so bummed. I'll never forget it. It was,
No
I
pussy
was like,
in this pie here.
why do anything ever again?
Yeah.
If the winner gets a fucking, I swear, it was like a pie from like
Vaughn's.
Stater Brother. It was fucking shit too. Shit pie. Not even any ice cream with it. It was fucked up.
This is great. This is a new triggering moment.
Oh, it's
Every time I
awesome.
see it from now on, hey, tell me about that pie, dude.
Tell me about the fucking
Fuck
pie.
that pie.
I would kick you in the leg.
I bet it was in the divorce papers too. Where it was like, you keep the fucking pie.
No, I don't do. No, everybody I've ever divorced, I say I'm sorry.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Because you know it was you?
I mean, it takes two to tango, but I just know from past experiences of trying to get somebody back or to get them to apologize for their end of it is pointless. What did I do? I'm annoying, man. I'm a liar. I'm a cheater. I'm not anymore, but that took a lot of stripping down to get to this. And at one point, it was like, I'm not a malicious cheater. I was never like the guy that's like, oh, take off the wedding ring. Let's get some puss. It was more like someone's like, I think you're really cute. I'm like, that's cool. Thank you. I'll suck your dick right now if you want. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm married. And then they pull my pants down.
Oh,
I go, oh, no. And then, and I'm like, ah, fuck. And then I do it. And then I go, oh, man, you're such a piece of shit. I hate me. and that's the main thing now is like, I know that I could get away with it, but I can't get away with it for me. And when I wake up in the morning knowing that I cheated myself, that I know that when I cheat myself, I got to use to run from it. And if I use, then I go back to like fat, out of shape, depressed guy. Yeah. And I'm like, I've been him. My whole life I've been him. I'm good. I've worn those pants. I am fucking good. I want this guy to stay. So like blowjobs or a bump or a fucking some kratom or a fucking ketamine or a fucking any of that shit is just like, because I'm sober, because I'm smart enough. I'm here. I know where I am. I know what time it is. That shit is ridiculous to me now. Like, hey, like I signed chicks like, can we take our top off for a photo? And I was like, yeah, because old me doesn't know any better. It seems harmless. Can you get in between it? I'm like, yeah. And then they mushed their titties on my face. And I was like,
Oh,
that was not appropriate. But okay. But now I know, because that's trial and error, because I'm still new to being a good guy. If you try to put your titties on my face now, I will be like, hey, no, I don't want that on my face. Like if you're a comedian and I go, hey, can you take a photo next to my dick? And then I slap you in the face with it, you fucking cool with that? No, you're not cool with that. So don't fucking do it to me. Because I don't need the scar. I got a chick at home who doesn't want my face on people's titties. So don't do it. So there's like little things.
it's just
that
one
I'm
of the
still
home rules.
Learning.
Yeah.
It's pretty much everybody's home rule. I'm gonna be real, Jason, and that's
doing
been
it.
since the dawn of time. You know, hey, don't have somebody's titties in your face. I like how you went through a trial and error process of it.
I grew up with all my girlfriends thinking titties on Jason's face was okay.
Really?
That
Those
was
were
all
the
right.
girls that I was attracted to. Ones that was like, yeah, you can fucking, you can get a hand job if it's only just a hand job.
No shit.
I have had relationships where I can, as long as I call first, I can do anything.
Well, we've had friends like that. It just never works out.
You're right, because look what happened.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
didn't work
It,
out.
it never works out in the end because everybody gets eventually jealous or whatever. With this new girl, how did you guys meet? And then what was the differentiating factor where she was like, all right, Jason, we both used to do the same shit, and let's fucking try to live a great life after this.
It's sobriety. We're both sober. We're both in the program. So when we both met each other, I was like, well, I've done this, and I've done this, and I've also, this is going to be tough for you to hear, but I've done this. And she was like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, so, take it or leave it. And she was like, well, just so you know, I've done this. I went out with this, and I've also done that. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you're fucking tweaked. She's like, well, you're pretty fucking tweaked too. I'm like, I agree. But we're putting in the work, and it's paying off, and it was paying off before we met each other. Like we are self-sufficient, we are talented, we are driven, we work, we do our own thing, and now together we're a power force. But we're older, we're wiser, we've made so many mistakes, and we've paid the heftiest of penalties for them. And now we're here, and we're very grateful, and we work together, and we're very open. Like if there is a beef, there is a problem, there is something, we just say it. There's no ducking. There's no like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, or there's this one thing that I need to share with you because otherwise I'll build resentment. Because we know we've done it wrong in every possible way. So if there's any resentment, if there's anything weird, I just say it, and she does the same. And it's just like every day I go, is this fucking real? Like, are you really real? Like you love me? I love you for everything you are. And I'm like, I've never believed anybody that said that.
Yeah.
And vice versa, where everything she is, I love her for it. I love her for all the things that she did wrong in her life. Like all the mistakes that she is and all the mistakes I am, we love each other for them.
And so with right now, is there any thoughts like in your mind of like you go back to the craziest night in your life? Because let's face it, out of everybody here, you've probably outlived us 10, 12 fucking times with
not a
all the crazy
contest.
shit you've done. It's not a contest at all. But because of what you've done and where you are in your life right now, do you ever think back to that one crazy night where you're like, holy shit, there was 6 chicks in the bed. There was a fucking half pound of cocaine, and then we did X, whatever the fuck that is, and zero desire to go back there.
No, it's sad when I think of it now, because I know why I was doing it for you. Like I was doing it for like the people of like what you need to do is get the biggest pile of cocaine and have all the most expensive things around the table and all the hottest chicks with the most demonic tattoos and you know, I mean, trans girls in the corner and somebody whipping with the chains and somebody's like, you know, I'm gonna choke you and do you know what blood play is? I'm like, nah, I'm gonna cut you and spit blood on your dick and blow you. That sounds badass. Let's go. Like all, I mean, and then you got two chicks with fucking scuba gear on in the corner and they're not in a pool. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like, put some coke in the pipe, see what happens. Like, all those things were for my friend to come in and go, wow, Jason, like you are living. And I'm like, I know, right? But I'm making it for you. Like, what do I really want? You know, like what is really important in my life? And maybe being older, like I've sincerely, maybe when I was younger, I really did need like a lot of boobs in the room to feel good. But I also feel like it's my insecurities that needed that. Like what I really want is to be loved and to love somebody where I know there's no bullshit in it. In those scenarios, I don't think anybody there loved me. No offense to them.
Yeah.
And also vice versa. I don't think I loved anybody else in that room. I don't think I knew half the people's names in that room. So to me, it's like, what is it? Like, to love is, this is cheesy as fuck, but love is the most important thing in the world to me. And to have it and to know that I really have it, I'm not giving that up for anything. There's no money, there's no titties, there's no pussies and fire and Lamborghinis, and I love Lamborghinis, don't get me wrong, but there's none of that now that comes close to it. And I think it's because I've never had my priorities in better shape. You know, where you can't bribe me. There's no, hey man, like if I give you a Lamborghini, that's my favorite car. It's the greatest car that I ever want in my whole life. I'll give you one if you just do this one thing. And I'm like, even if it's do a commercial for cigarettes. No, why not, dude? Like, it's just for cigarettes. I don't believe in them. Yeah. No offense. If you want to smoke them, that's great. But I'm not about that, and I'm not going to take anything, the most important shiny thing to me on the planet. I'm not going to take it because I know I know I'm here to help people. I'm here to make this world better. And that's how I wake up in the morning and feel good about myself and look in the mirror and love the day. And as soon as I step off that and start going down that road, look at me, man. I got into tattoos. Look at me. Like, as soon as I go off on a thing, I go off on a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just real cautious with where I'm going in my life right now. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be alive, dude. And I don't want to waste 1 second on doing shit for the wrong reasons. And money, fame, pussy is a thing that can pull me in ways that are not really me. And now that I know who I am and what I really want and what I'm about, none of that shit is tempting to me anymore. And if that's probably the best feeling, is you don't get me. Like, you could have them all, the hottest chicks right here, naked, like, hey, Jason, old me, you'd be like, I can't hear what you're saying anymore, man. There's pussy on the table, you know? And now I'll be like, oh my God, like, I hope they're okay. Like, what happened to them? Why are they naked in this room? No offense, but who are we, you know? Like, something's wrong with those bitches. Like, it's just not, I just don't care about it anymore. I'm free, man.
Well, look, man, this has been awesome. I know you've got to go down to YMH here in a second.
Yeah.
Now's the point in the show we get to this thing called the Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today.
Yeah.
Who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
Tony Hawk, easily. Tony Hawk is the most inspirational. I mean, the breaking leg thing in 55 and then getting back and doing what he did. I've never seen anybody tougher, and I know some tough people. Yeah, I know some real tough fighters. I know UFC champions. Tony Hawk is tougher than all of them combined. And his passion for the game, where you're just willing to put it out there, and then to be such a legend, such a famous person, and to still just be like a dude. Like, he's not a dick. He doesn't go, see that fucking... I've never heard that guy talk shit on a single person, ever.
Yeah.
He's just a good guy. And he's a great father and a great husband. And that's probably the biggest inspiration that I get is I want to be like I want my kids to love me like his kids love him, because he's that good of a dad.
Yeah, he's an awesome person, and probably one of the most genuine people you ever meet in real life.
Man, that's what I'm
and
saying.
Humble. but you can tell inside he's got that killer mentality that a Kobe had or anybody else had.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're just like,
He
oh,
hides
all
it
right.
good, man, but it's there.
Yeah, it's down. After I watched that doc is when I really found it, and I was like, all right, cool. I only shot a movie with him for a few weeks, and I got to see him do all the shit, and it was easy.
He's a maniac.
It was easy for him.
Yeah.
All of it was easy for him, and I was like, okay, cool. But on the inside, he was just like, man, I'm gonna fucking kill people if I need to out there. And I could tell, and I was like, oh shit, dude, Tony's a gangster on the inside.
He is a gangster.
Nicest guy in real life.
I call him the Lord of War, and he's like, what? And I'm like, dude, you're the Lord of War. You're a warlord. And he's just like, I don't really understand. I'm like, you do. Don't fucking lie. You understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't think he'll admit it like outwardly, but if you watch him in the the preparation and everything that he does, you're like, oh, it's there.
Oh.
You want to fucking be the best, like, of all time, and
Dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
he rocks. Tell everybody where they can find you and your podcast.
So the Jason Ellis Show is a podcast, but I also have a Patreon where I do 3 Jason Ellis shows a week on there, and also a solo show on there called Awesome World. So 4 live shows a week on my Patreon. So that's patreon.com/EllisMate. Then I have Hawk versus Wolf podcast that I do with Tony Hawk. It's available everywhere. And then I have Father Grind Skateboards, fathergrind.com. It's a 10 video tutorial on how to learn to skateboard if you're older in a way that is maybe not as cool, but it keeps you safe. You don't have to go to hospital, and you can learn how to carve skate bowls, drop in on mini ramps. I teach you how to do that. You can buy my skateboard there. I sell setups, pads, the whole deal. And then for comedy dates, thejasonellis.com. That's my website, and there's new comedy dates popping up every day.
That's awesome, man. Look, you've been one of my favorites, and in my opinion, I know I said this at the top, but I'll close with this at the end of the show. You were so good on the radio that I had no idea you did the other stuff. For real. So you can live many, many years and live a happy, happy life. And listening to this man's show, if you get a chance to check it out, is definitely worth it. Because if you loved what you heard today, every day was like this in a different fucking realm, and you were just like, "Holy shit, is this a real fucking
It's gonna be hard
person?"
not to love today.
Yes. So please check out his shit, dude. He rocks. And so do we. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. For Jason Ellis, Jared Cat Puke Taylor, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.